Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to explore Secrets of Mummification. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss our latest videos. In the heart of ancient Egypt, where the Nile breathed life into the desert, a civilization rose, one unlike any other. A people who gazed beyond the limits of life and dared to challenge death itself. They believed the end was never truly the end, that death was a passage, a doorway to eternity. And from this belief was born one of humanity's most mysterious and sacred arts, mummification. The philosophy of death. To the ancient Egyptians, life on earth was only the beginning, a test, a journey towards our everlasting paradise known as the Fields of Arrow. A realm of peace and abundance, a perfect reflection of the fertile Nile Valley. At the center of this divine order stood Osiris, god of the afterlife, a deity who himself had died and risen again. His resurrection became the eternal promise of life beyond death. But to reach this paradise, one vital condition had to be met. The body, the sacred vessel of the soul, had to be preserved. Without it, the spirit could never find its way home. The soul and its eternal journey. The Egyptians believed every human was made of several sacred parts. The Ka, a twin spirit, needing food and drink. The Ba, a wandering soul, free to travel between worlds. The Akh, the divine essence awakened through ritual and purity. If the body decayed, these elements could never reunite, and the person would be lost forever. And so began their quest to conquer time itself. The birth of mummification. It began thousands of years before the pyramids. Early Egyptians noticed something remarkable. When buried in desert sand, bodies did not rot. The hot, dry air of Nile preserved them naturally. Over centuries, this observation transformed into sacred science. By the age of the pharaohs, mummification had become a complex, divine ritual performed by priests, guided by ancient prayers. Inside the chamber of the dead. Within the quiet chambers of the embalming houses, priests worked with surgical precision. The brain was removed through the nose, a delicate process performed with long metal hooks. The internal organs, liver, stomach, lungs, intestines, were carefully extracted, each placed into sacred canopic jars, guarded by protective gods. Then, the body was covered in natron salt for 40 days, until every drop of moisture was gone. Once dried, the body was filled with resins, spices, and linen. Layer upon layer of fine white wrapping followed, each bound with words of prayer and magic. And when the wrapping was done, the priests performed the opening of the mouth ritual, a ceremony to restore the senses of sight, speech, and breath in the afterlife. Finally, amulets and charms were placed among the wrappings, the most sacred of all, the heart scarab, to protect the soul in judgment. The House of Eternity. To the Egyptians, a tomb was not a grave, it was a house of eternity. Walls adorned with carvings and colors, chambers filled with gold, food, and treasures, everything the spirit might need in the next world. The tomb of Tutankhamun remains the greatest testament to this belief, a treasure trove of beauty and mystery untouched for millennia. The Book of the Dead. Among the wrappings and treasures lay the soul's greatest guide, the Book of the Dead. Written on papyrus, it was filled with hymns and spells to help the spirit navigate the perils of the underworld and reach the judgment hall of Osiris. There, the heart of the deceased was weighed against the feather of Ma'at, goddess of truth. If the heart was light, the soul was pure and granted eternal life. If heavy with sin, it was devoured by the fearsome Ammit and lost forever. For the common people. Not everyone could afford such divine preservation. For the poor, simpler burials were made, bodies wrapped in cloth, laid in the desert sand, or treated with resin. But their faith was the same, rich or poor. All Egyptians dreamed of eternal life. The decline of an ancient art. As centuries passed, new empires came and went, Greek, Roman, and later Christian. Beliefs began to change. The focus shifted from preserving the body to saving the soul. By the 4th century CE, the sacred art of mummification faded into legend, its secrets buried beneath the sands of time. Legacy of Immortality. For the ancient Egyptians, mummification was far more than a ritual of the dead. It was a declaration of faith, a promise that death could be overcome. Through science, art, and divine devotion, they sought to preserve not only the body, but the very essence of what it means to be human. Even today, the silent faces of their mummies, wrapped in linen, resting in eternity, remind us of one timeless truth: that death is not the end, but the beginning of forever.